Most developers think you need JavaScript libraries or complex frameworks to build something like this. You don't. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how pure CSS can create a fully animated 3D image slider that looks modern, professional, and surprisingly advanced. Let's build it step by step. First, inside the body, we create a banner container. This banner will act as the main wrapper and hold everything on the page. Inside the banner, we add two main sections. The first section is the slider, which will contain all of our images. The second section is the model container, where we are going to display the model image. Now, inside the slider, we create multiple item elements. Each item contains an image. Every image represents one card of our 3D slider. Now let's move to CSS. We start by styling the banner. We set its width to 100% and its height to 100 VH, so it fills the entire screen. We also set its position to relative, because some child elements will use absolute positioning later. To keep everything inside the frame, we add overflow hidden. This ensures that any element moving outside the banner boundaries will be hidden from view of our 3D slider. At this point, if we open the browser, all the images appear stacked on top of each other. This is completely normal because we haven't added any positioning yet. The slider uses position absolute, which allows us to place it precisely inside the banner. We give it a width of 200 pixels and a height of 250 pixels. Then we move it about 10% from the top of the banner and center it horizontally using left calc. 50% minus half of its width. Now let's style each item. Every item uses position absolute and fills the entire slider area. We set top, right, bottom, and left to 0 using inset 0. This makes every item share exactly the same size and position as the slider container. For the images, we simply set width and height to 100%. To prevent image distortion, we use Object Fit Cover. This allows the image to completely fill the frame while maintaining its proportions. Now comes the interesting part. To create a real 3D environment, we enable Transform Style Preserve 3D on the slider. This allows all child elements to exist in three-dimensional space instead of being flattened into a two-dimensional plane. We also add perspective with a value of 1000 pixels. Perspective creates depth and makes the 3D effect appear realistic. Without it, the rotation would look flat and unnatural. Next, we need to arrange all images around an invisible circle. To do this efficiently, we use CSS variables. Inside the slider, we create a variable called quantity. This variable stores the total number of items inside the slider. Then, each individual item gets its own position variable. The position value tells us where that specific item should be placed around the circle. Using these variables, we can calculate the rotation angle for every item automatically. The formula is simple. In item, we use transform rotate y. In rotate y, we use calc function. We take the current position, -1, multiply it by 360 degrees, divided by the total number of items, and use that value inside rotate y. After rotating the item, we move it forward using translate z with a value of 550 pixels. This pushes the item outward from the center of the slider. As a result, all images are distributed evenly around an invisible circular path in 3D space. Now the images are no longer stacked on top of each other. Instead, they form a complete circular 3D layout. The next step is animation. Many developers would try to animate every image individually, but that's not the most efficient approach. Instead, we animate the entire slider container. We create a keyframe animation called auto-run and apply it to the slider. The animation runs for 20 seconds using a linear timing function and repeats infinitely. Inside the keyframes, we keep the perspective value and smoothly rotate the slider from rotate Y 0 degrees to rotate Y 360 degrees. Because all the items are attached to the slider, they automatically move together and create a smooth, endless rotation effect. At this point, our fully functional 3D image slider is complete. Next, we will style the model section. First, we set bg-spiderman.png as the background image of the model. Then, width 100% and height 80 VH. Make it cover the full width and 80% of the screen height. Position, absolute, allows us to place the element exactly where we want. Bottom, 30 px, and left, 0. Move it slightly below the bottom and align it to the left. Background, repeat, no repeat. Background, size, auto, 120%, and background position, top center. Control the image appearance. Finally, z-index, 0.5, manages the layer order of the element. And put z-index 1 in slider. We have successfully created a fully animated 3D image slider using only HTML and CSS without writing a single line of JavaScript. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.